I think the communication between how international community is engaging Afghanistan as separate from engaging Taliban. For example, $61 million of humanitarian aid from United States or $31 million of aid from China is coming to deal with the humanitarian catastrophe that is likely to happen in Afghanistan. That has nothing to do with the recognition of Taliban as a regime. Of course, we understand that Pakistan, Russia, China are maintaining their missions in Kabul and are in direct communication with Taliban, of course. But that also, I think, is not a reflection of their, direct and open recognition of Taliban. Even they are hesitant. You just notice that, when they formed the interim government, they had invited 6 countries representatives. Not one country responded. So international community is as yet, I think, united, except that the benchmarks for each of these sometimes could be different. And that is where Prime Minister's intervention and speech today at the summit meeting of both SCO and the outreach with the CSTO is a very important attempt. And foreign ministers on the ground talking to various other leaders there in Dushanbe to make sure that there is a collective view taken on the subject as to what would be the benchmarks on which Taliban must prove itself on the ground before any kind of recognition, a formal recognition is extended to Taliban. And that is, I don't think, coming very easily. What also marks a difference is that compared to speech that Indian Prime Minister had in UN Security Council when he was chairing it, or when the resolution was passed later, direct mention of Afghanistan was avoided because that's a very different platform. But here, because the platform involves all the direct stakeholders who are getting impacted with what happens in Afghanistan, a detailed mention of Afghanistan was clearly made by the Prime Minister, because here we are talking to countries that are going to be really impacted upon as to how radicalization expands from success of Taliban on the ground. Not necessarily because Taliban would like to do that directly, but even the example of Taliban taking over power is going to inspire some other outfits.
Absolutely.
Or the factional fights of Taliban could allow some space to some of these radical elements to go and sort of spread that ideology around. So radicalization of Eurasia, I think, is something that Prime Minister's underlined is the immediate threat, and that is where we need to really address this problem collectively and put some really important benchmarks for Taliban to really address and accept those kind of conditions.
Professor Singh, do you agree with Ambassador Tigrayat? And also when Prime Minister talks about the stricter norms, quote unquote, to deal with the situation, and considering the member nations that are part of SCO as we speak, it's a very aggressive line, a hard line that India has once again taken. It's zero tolerance on terror.
Clearly, I think India for last about 3 months, and now it is being reiterated by Prime Minister at this very large gathering of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, along with the collective treaty organization of 6 nations, so 27 nations together of Eurasia. Benchmarks that India has placed on the ground as to what would require in case international community and India have to recognize Taliban as a legitimate government in Kabul. So I think it's also very interesting to see that just as on the eve of next Friday's in-person quadrilateral security framework summit in Washington, D.C., where Prime Minister will be attending, and he's going there, President Joe Biden has just announced something called AUKUS, Australia, United Kingdom and US new arrangement for the Indo-Pacific. In that backdrop, I think this meeting of both Indian Foreign Minister being on the ground in Dushanbe and Indian Prime Minister addressing, underlining one after another benchmarks that India would like to see as India engages with this larger region, as to how this main challenge of radicalization that Taliban's success in taking over power in Taliban could trigger, and how collectively in one voice one can think of leading this SCO and CSTO together and using institutions which are already built, the regional anti-terrorism structure of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which was built in 2004 onwards, and is very active structure to take off, look after extremism, radicalism, etc. And also at the same time, Shanghai Cooperation Organization has had something called a contact group on Afghanistan. Afghanistan has been an observer country in SCO. So SCO is an ideal location where you can think of how to bring all the stakeholders who are going to be immediately impacted upon, and some of them are engaged.
Professor Singh, you want to come in here?
I think it's important for us to really take care of our interests directly, and that is where this repeated assertion of territory of Afghanistan not to be used against India's interest is very important to underline. Also, defense and protection of people of Indian origin, not just of Indian citizens, has been underlined repeatedly. And the fear that the possibilities of some other outfits finding space in a sort of unstable political situation in Taliban is where international community support has to be calibrated, and India is doing that, to do it together with several other nations, both in Eurasia but also in the Western nations, when it is going to engage European nations and now in quadrilateral security framework. So it's a well-calibrated approach to protect India's national interest and Indian national security.
All right, on that note, many thanks.